Before we start this video proper, I wanted to point out that about a month ago, I went to New York City with my college's theater department, and once I was walking out in Central Park, and we went to this restaurant, and somebody recognized me. So that was kind of surreal. We connected, we're friends now, we connected on Instagram, and this is a shout out for Vinny. You're cool, bruh. Ew, why did I do that? But anyway, back to this video's actual topic. My life as a residential advisor or assistant, whatever they call them maybe at your school. Whoa, she fell down. Alright, fixed. God. So during my sophomore year in college, around the time, that weird era of videos that I made, from the Grindr horror story video up through Call Me By Your Name month, I was an RA at my college. And when I did some Google searching about videos pertaining to people who are RAs, I found that there were a lot of videos that maybe slightly over-glorified the position. They made it seem like it was a lot of fun, and the actual ramifications of being that position on a person just were not there. And so I don't want to make some expose video about oh well, being an RA is the absolute worst thing that could ever happen to you and here's why. No, I don't want to do that. I just want to give my unique perspective on what it was like to hold a position like that as a sophomore in college. And so I guess we can start, as most stories do, we can just start at the beginning. So my freshman year, around February, they were asking for applicants to apply for the RA position, excuse me. We call it PAs at my college. But they were asking for applicants for the RA positions, and I had a few friends that were already there, so I'm just like, hee hee, I can sneak in there. But I ended up getting the job, and I accepted the job, and we had to come in early before classes actually started, about a month early, and do all of our training. All of the staff went to this camp, and we did all of these trust exercises and some of our training there, and that was a lot of fun. That's where I got to know most of who I was going to be working with, because I had not seen many of these people outside of the position. And so they got to figure out who I was, and I got to figure out who they were, and we had so much fun. So we got all our training done after we got back from this camp. We went back to campus, and we put all of our rooms together, and we were putting up our bulletin boards and our decorations, our door decks, whatever, what have you. And I was so excited for all of my residents to move in. And training can only tell you so much. There's only so much you can learn and what you can be told in training that applies to the actual job itself. So what they do not tell you is that everybody's journey is different. You are not going to be friends with all of your residents. Your residents will not always like you. So I remember on move-in day for all of my little first years, bless their hearts, it was raining, and so nobody's attitudes were particularly great, but none of them were just all oh, I just do not want to be here right now. But me, being first year RA me, I was going a little hardball on people following the rules. So if I saw people hanging up string lights, our school doesn't allow string lights in our rooms. So when I saw people hanging up string lights, I'm just oh no, you have to take those down, or I just cannot see them, or else you'll get in trouble. And this one girl, one of my residents, just literally just scoffed at me, and I'm like, okay, well, sorry, I'm doing my job. And so that wasn't a bad sign of things to come, but it was just okay, not everybody's going to like me in this position, because I'm in this position of power. It's really weirdly fearful. The RA is not the one that gets you into trouble. They merely just write down what they see. It's the REC who is the one that decides what to do for the punishment. And a lot of people, a lot of first years, or even sophomores for that matter, just do not understand that. I had to spend a lot of time away initially from my residents, because I was also in a show in early August all the way through September, so I was only really there on nights that we had our staff meetings, and nights that I had to be there when I was on duty. And those times, those first 2-3 months, are so crucial in setting up your relationship with your residents, and I'm very sad that I missed them, because I feel because I wasn't there, I dropped the ball a little bit in terms of what was acceptable behavior and what was not acceptable behavior, and whether or not people could come and talk to me. Because like we had mandatory meetings where like everybody had to come and talk to me, and like we figured out like their birthdays, their likes, their dislikes, their intended field of study. So like it was like personal, but it wasn't very personal. And like thinking back on it now, I really wish I could have been there to like just like have my door open and like answer any like initial questions that people had, and it really sucks that I couldn't have been there. They also don't tell you that the position is very, very lonely. They really do characterize it as something like where like the campus is like looking down at you like in a fishbowl. And so like in that way they make it seem like it's like a collective like group type thing, like everybody will be looking down at the RAs as a group. But like that doesn't like help you realize that it's a lonely thing even for like an individual person, because I went from living with a roommate my freshman year to living by myself in the same building my sophomore year, all year. And like at first it was pretty nice because like I didn't have anybody else like barging in at all hours of the night or like sharing my space. I had all that space to myself. But once it got to winter, I was very lonely and very sad. My room was like, it seemed like much bigger than it actually was, and it just, I don't know. That's as bad as like my seasonal depression has ever been. And it also didn't help that I went through 2 breakups that year, so oof. Another thing that I really do kind of end up resenting was that being an RA really stunted my growth in our theater department. Because of my really busy schedule, I was only able to do 2 shows last year, and that really kind of bit me in the ass because I don't know, I've done a lot of growth this year as a junior, but like as a sophomore, instead of going like up, I kind of just leveled off. And I really wish I could have been able to do more, but my schedule just really prevented me from like making all the strides that I really wanted to. And like sure, I could have made like the schedules work, but like on top of classes and like your mandatory meeting days and rehearsals and your mandatory duty days, it's just, why put all of that stress on yourself if you really don't need to, you know? And then there are the roommate conflicts. I'm not gonna go into anything really, really specific, but if there's anything I learned about people, it's that people are petty, they're kind of disgusting, but overall, they can be friendly. I think a lot of what people think about when they're having like a roommate conflict is that it's just like a bunch of like really petty microaggressions that build into something that is not entirely as bad as what you think it is. And you just have to air those out as soon as you can. And those can be worked around. However, if they are not, if your needs are not being met as a roommate, or like you just are not able to communicate with the other person, if it goes in one ear and right out the other, then like obviously that's like a need for change. There's a difference between simply not being incompatible and like being mentally, physically, and emotionally disturbed or in danger by your roommate. But those are just like battles you kind of just have to pick and choose, and if the problem persists, then you have to do something about it. But like back to the like people being disgusting thing, if there's something that I learned, it's that basic hygienic skills and just basic bathroom etiquette are surprisingly lacking in both males and females ages like 18 to 20. Once I had one of the custodians who cleaned the bathroom on our floor come to me crying, saying that the bathroom was so disgusting every time that she had to go clean it, that it put her so behind for the whole day that she wasn't able to actually like do the things that she needed to do. And that kind of just broke my heart, because coming from somebody who's like worked in that line of work before, it really sucks when people don't respect the facilities that somebody has to clean. I know, like personally, as an RA, you can't be someone's parent. You're basically there to like guide them along as much as you can without like being like preachy or spelling it out for them or holding their hand. But there's a difference between having your hand held and basic human decency. I like sent out an email to everybody on my floor saying like, you gotta cut this crap out because this lady cannot be this heavily cleaning the bathroom every time that she does it, because like you're grown people. You need to be able to like take care of yourselves and take care of the facilities that you're using, because you're paying so much money for them. And yeah, things got better after that, but there was also a noticeable shift in people not wanting to really talk to me anymore. It really hurts to play the bad guy, but somebody has to do it. Those things have to get said, or nothing is going to get better. I don't know. I think overall, being an RA gave me a very interesting perspective on what it was to have, like, what the college experience is. But I would definitely not do it again. But like, I really did like it. It really gave me like empathy for like people who have to like do those kinds of jobs. I'm not an RA this year, but I do live on campus, and like I've been trying to be more mindful of like those things that like RAs try to look for. And I don't know. I think working with people just really helps you to broaden your horizons, just gain empathy. Point is that you're like able to grow as a person, as a time manager, as like a craft person. I don't know. It's just a very interesting position to hold in a college, and I think people who are able to do it and not go crazy are some of the toughest people around. So, this is Dustin signing off, but only for now.